episode of Touchdesigner tutorials. In this video, we want to explore Particle's GPU. Let's start. So first, in Palette usually when you open the Touchdesigner is on the left part of your program, but if you wouldn't see it here, if it was closed for some reason, then you can bring it from here. In Palette, in Tools, down here, you can select Particle GPUs. You need to drag and drop it inside the program. So by default, we have some leaves falling down. As you can see, we have a cube, a border for our particles that the start point is on top of our cube. If you click on this star, then you can move around your particle. And to see, for this video, I want to have a front view of my particle, so you can press H and then you will have the front view. So first we explore a bit the parameters here in our container. Here in Create, by default is on by particle per frame, but you can change it by total number of particles. But I will keep it by particle per frame. Here, birth, you can change the number, and you can, if you increase the number, then the amount of particles that are produced in each frame will be more. And here you can change the life minimum. Then your particle will stay for a longer time. And here you can change the life variance. You can change these numbers based on what you want to do, but for now I will keep it like this. And here in the size type, you can select like different size type. By default is on random. If you put it on constant, then you will have just one number, which means all your particles will have similar size. But I keep it on random, and I want to make them smaller. So min and max means that our size, the particle size, will be randomly between these numbers from minimum to maximum. So I put the minimum on 0.27 and maximum on 0.92. Here you can turn off display bounds. We don't need it. And in drag, if you lower down the number, then kind of the movement of our particle will be faster because the time that our particle will drag is shorter. And if you put it on a higher number, then it will be slower. And here you can change the speed, the actual speed, which is by default is on 1. I keep it on 1. And down here you can reset your particle. So first thing I do, I bring a keyboard in from Chop because I want to be able to reset my particle whenever I want. And by default the keyboard is on 1, but you can change this to whatever key you want. I drag and drop it on reset and I choose Chop references. Now here in forces, we have different parameters which define the movement of our particle. First part is initial velocity. I don't want to change this. Second part is external type, which is on constant. And the Y position is on -1, which make our particle to fall down. We also have wind and turbulence. And here we have optical flow magnitude, which we later come back to this. And in render, we can define our resolution. So since I'm using the free version of Touchdesigner, I cannot have a higher resolution, but I want to have a square. So here I also put 1280. And in material, you can choose different materials here. We have constant, we have funk, line, and custom. In custom, you can drag and drop your own material. You can create a material and drag and drop it here. In texture, you can also choose different texture. We have square. Let me go closer so we see what is going on. We can choose circle. We can choose smooth or characters, which is random letters. And we can have a custom texture. So for example, if you have a texture, like here, I will bring a movie file in. And I drop this banana, so we have bananas falling from the sky. But for this part, for this tutorial, I want to choose line. Here I also delete this. And after our output, I add a node. And before that, I add a RGB key to have a black background. Now I divide my screen to two parts. Here I choose top viewer, and here I turn on the display. And here in display, right click, go to display and turn off backdrop tops. So we will have a empty background in our left part, which is our workspace, and we have the results on the right side. So we go back to our particles GPU. Here in particle source, we can also change our source shape. By default, our shape is rectangle, but we can have a sphere. Here now I have the sphere. I reset. Or we can have box, or many other things. But for this video, I want to choose line, so I choose line. Now you see our particles is coming from a line. Here we have point A and point B. Since we have a line, the first number is what we need to change. I want to make my line longer. Now it's my point A is -2 and my point B is 2. So I change my point A to -4. Now you see my point A, and I change my point B to 4. Now we have a longer line. I zoom in a bit. So I go back to my particle GPU. I increase the burst number to 5,700 something. Now we want to check what inputs we could have. First input is particle source. All our inputs should be top, so we can also say by the color, which is purple. Second input is our color. Third input is particle velocity. Fourth input is optical flow, which is what we want to use today. And the last input is effector. But in this video, we just want to use optical flow and also color later. So I bring a noise from top. I turn off the monochrome. I change the seed. I increase periods. I put it on 4. I increase harmonics. I also put it on 4. I go to transform. In translate Z and X, I write uptime dot seconds. And I multiply it to 0.1. I want to have a slow movement in depth and also from side to side. So now let's connect this noise directly to optical flow to see what will happen. Now you see we have a very strong motion. So how to reduce this effect? We have two ways. One way is to add a mask on top and go to multi-add and lower the multiply number to a small number. Here I put it on 0.002. Now it's very small. I put it on 0.02. Now you see the effect. It takes a bit of time until we see all the particles. But there's another way, which is optical flow container, which is also in palette tools, and it's actually on top of the particles GPU. So I bring it here. Now I connect my noise to optical flow and I connect this container to the input. Now you see we have our noise effect on our particle. I go closer, I change my view with it. I want to be more focused on the middle part of my particles. Now there are two ways to make our optical flow force stronger. One way is to go to optical flow and increase the force number. Now you see the effect. But another way is to go to particles GPU, go to forces, and increase the number of optical flow magnitude. Here I put it on 5, which is too much. I put it on 2. Now in the external parts, in external magnitude, I lower down the number. It was on 1, I put it on 0.5 almost. Now if we want to add wind, here for example, I add a number to my wind, to X and Y position, and you see the effect of the wind on our particles. But I don't want to use wind for this video, just wanted to show you how it works. Now in noise, if we change each one of the parameters in our noise, we see the effects on our particles. For example, here, I change the exponent. When the exponent is lower, our particles get more like messy. When it's higher, it gets more in order and in control. I put this back to 1. I go to particles GPU. I increase the max size number to 1.15. Now here, after my noise, I add another noise. I change the period number to 2. I turn off the monochrome. I put the amplitude on 1. Now here in the first noise, I go to common and I put my resolution to 1280 because I forgot to change this. I change the harmonics also to 5. I lower down the harmonic spread. Now you see the effect. Our particles are like more smooth and less noisy because our noise is kind of blurrish. I put the harmonic spreads on 1.5 in the end. And I change the harmonic gain to 0.71. Now here I zoom in a bit more. Now we want to add color to our particles. So I bring a ramp from top. I change the resolution 1280 to 1280. Here I change the color. I add a node from top and I connect this node to the color inputs in my particles GPU. Here is our input. Second one is the color. now it's too green. I want to make it more like orange. So I add a point here. Now we can have like a cool effect. I always like to use feedback. I think it's kind of good sometimes to use it. It makes interesting effects. So I add a null after my particles GPU. I add a feedback. And I add a composite. Drag and drop the composite inside the feedback. I change it to over. I add a level after my feedback. And I lower down the opacity from post. Now here in our particle GPU, in render, by default it has a camera. But if you want, you can add your own camera, which is what I want to do here. I bring a camera from comp. Here I drop it inside the camera. I go to view, I change it to orthographic. Now it's very zoom in. Here I increase the number of auto width. I put it on 3.67. Now this is nice, I think. Now we can do something fun. I want to create a circle that kind of affects my particles. So I bring the circle from top. I decrease the size number to 0.2. I add a transform from top. I bring a LFO from top. And now I use this LFO to change my circle Y position. I lower down the frequency and I change it to ramp. I put my offset on 0.1 because I want it to start from outside of our view, and I put the amplitude on 2, so it goes from 0.1 position to 2 position, which is both of them are outside. I add another LFO and I add it to my X transform. I lower down the frequency. Now our circle has this left to right and bottom to top movement. I add a composite. I connect both my noise and my circle to this composite. And I put it on maximum. Now we see that the circle is kind of affecting the particles. So this can be anything. Like for example, you can use your camera inputs, and when you are in front of the camera and when you move, you will affect the particles. Your movement will affect the particles. So I just wanted to show you like the possibility of the optical flow and how it works. I think we are done with this tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and stay tuned for the next videos. And if you already subscribed to my channel, thank you for following me. I hope to see you next time.